right, you guys, back once again with the ill behavior. This is the ill Bill, and welcome to the Chill with Bill show. Hey, we gonna talk about this reaction on the King Riches podcast. You know, I love me some King Riches. He always has some pretty good questions, and it's an interesting dynamic. The difference between the UK and the US, although we all in the West, right? Western society, that is. Melanie King on this joint. There is another woman on here. I don't know her name. She's older though, and her game is all the way tight. Like every time she says something, she be dropping knowledge, yo. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get into this.
Yeah, I will say across the board, black women are the lowest in terms of dating and marrying. In fact, actually, black women are high in dating because we give up sex the most. We're for the streets. We're twerking. We're doing the most. We dominate rap in the culture that is very sexual, especially in the U.S. So a lot of men see us as easy targets to have sex with. And we have the highest rate of having children outside of marriage, wedlock. And so men see us as bed wenches, easy to have sex with, but they don't see us as valuable wives. Our culture, especially in the U.S., I don't know how it is in the U.K. I know it's a little different, but our family structure is so broken and so destroyed that we really, the majority of black women in the U.S., we've been put into a position of just being, sexual, just for a man's sexual pleasure. But if they're going to take a woman serious, that's why you see a lot of.
This is interesting, what she's saying, just to interject real quick, too, because historically in the past, black people, we actually had the highest marriage rates at one point in time. Even all through slavery, we needed each other. That much, right? And and I think when you really look at this, right, like it's it's crazy how much things have changed, and you can't you can't look at this in any sense say that this happened organically. This was this was calculated, right? This was the system was designed to do this, right? It didn't just happen on its own, right? Like this happened for a reason. So let's keep it going.
A lot of black men, when they become successful, they're not marrying us. I mean, they do. Okay, let me say this: 80% of black men are marrying black women, even when they're successful. But there is a huge thing where a lot of black men are going to other races. Why? And a lot of women don't understand. They say the man is racist. No, the culture that woman may have been brought up in, her submissiveness, in our culture, we're being rebellious, dressing provocative. It's standard. It is standard. We hate ourselves a lot. We hate our own hair. We want our butts to be the fattest. We pride ourselves on things of being bosses, having the fattest booty, being able to twerk the best, but not intrinsic values that is a wife. And to speak to Maggie, like we talk about like colorism in our culture, because I think race is not just race, but it's colorism within our own culture, where they prefer light skin, they prefer this, that, and the other. I tell you on God, an attitude like Maggie, a lot of men, like, regardless of anything, like, to me, there's such a peace and an aura about her that a lot of women can learn from, of every race, but particularly in the black community, that's not standard model, like who she is. Like if you come around Maggie, you just feel loved on. You feel like,
And that we'll get to Maggie at some point. That's the older woman that I was talking about, I think. But that's what we all want, right? It's not just black folks, white folks, Hispanic folks, Asian folks. Men in general. When we come home, we want to come home to feeling loved, right? Like nobody wants to come home to some bossy, loudmouth, always yelling, always upset, talking down, talking cross, like nobody wants to. A woman doesn't want to come home to a man doing that. So why would a man want to, like? And and it's like society just teaches these women to just be like, take me as I am, or else, and it's like, yo, you gonna end up alone. Dudes will do it, and they'll like, man, they'll end up with women like this for a little bit and just be like, oh my god, what have I gotten myself into? And either get trapped, or just be trying to figure out how to get out without getting crushed, right? Because a woman like that, she'll mess up your whole life, yo. The whole thing for no reason.
Home. And so I think a lot of black women can retain that. But if we're talking about race, we're talking about black women. Let's just be honest about it. We're talking about black women, not we have the lowest marriage rates. We have the
Yep.
highest birth rates
Yep.
outside of marriage. Why is that? We have the highest number of abortions, and our behavior and the culture we promote. If you look around the world, look at our rappers, look at the culture. Most men see us as sexual tools.
Do you agree
And
with what she's saying?
that's not just most black men, to be clear. That's men, period. White men, Asian men, Hispanic men. That's how they see a lot of black women, because that's how you're portrayed in all of our society and culture. And to be honest, that's how you portray yourself in the outside world, right? And like, if you were to say this, if you were to say this to a lot of black women, they will get so offended, they get triggered, and then all of the sign language comes out and this and that. And it's like, how do you not, how do you not look at this and see this? Yeah, I'm not saying all black women. I know, we all know we ain't talking about all of nothing, right? We're just talking about a majority large percentage. um and I'll talk about my experience with black women, in my youth and growing up, man. you know um I ain't never been black enough for black women. Like, even when light skinned brothers was in, I wasn't black enough, because I grew up around white people. I grew up, in Germany too. You know what I'm saying? I'm multicultural. I'm very learned. I liked different kinds of music. I like computers and electronics, and these things, and a lot. I just never really, they call me corny, call me light skinned white boy. You know what I mean? Like, all this and that. My whole childhood, it was like that. There, and don't get me wrong, I've dated, quite a few black women, in the past, but there was always there's always been that kind of like attitude towards uh not just me, but a lot of people that I knew like me, right? And so it was a lot easier to find acceptance in other cultures. And it's like, when you grow up like that, when you grow up hearing people talk, specifically black women talk like this about you, right? Or other people or whatever. Once you get older, it's like, yo, and then they want to know why dudes are passport bros, or why black dudes are marrying white chicks, or Hispanics, or Filipinas, or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, you had all the time in the world to treat me like I was your king, right? Because you supposed to be my queen, right? And like, none of that was good enough back then. It damn sure ain't gonna be good enough now, after you done been through all the bullshit, right? And why would a man want to put himself through that, take on that kind of risk, when there are other options? Kevin Samuels said it. He said, if oh, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he said, if black men don't get with black women, but instead get with white women, or Mexican women, or Asian women, what happens to the black race? And the answer is nothing. We continue on, because black men produce black babies. Doesn't matter what they're mixed with. We black. My daughter is black. She's also, got Swedish in her, maybe some Polynesian, maybe some Norwegian, Scandinavian, you know what I mean? She's black. She's as dark, if not darker than me, yo. So, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I do.
Do you agree with what she's
100%.
saying?
Yeah.
Do you agree with what she's saying?
Partly, but not everything.
Okay, do you agree with what she's saying?
I do.
What was the partly? What's the part that you don't agree with?
I think one that I don't know all those statistics, but I'm assuming you're talking from the US. You know, when you talk about wife culture and wife mindset, Maggie's a wife in this room, but I'm thinking
But
about
she's rare.
That's
She's rare.
what
Her
she said.
attitude and what she is in the world. The U.S. has the highest numbers of children born out of wedlock, and the people who dominate that are black women. So this is worldwide.
so worldwide.
And single mother
Black
rate
single
is,
mother
the
rate
single
is
mother-
black women.
The single mother rate is
Black
high
women.
in the UK as well.
But it's
Okay.
black women who
Yeah, it's-
dominate
it's black
that.
So,
women.
but we're saying that we're not raised with this wife mindset.
No,
Is that
we're
what
not.
we're
We're not. We're not. And we can blame. There's a lot of reasons for it. It's not just because we just are. We're the worst or anything like that.
But
It's not what I
think,
mean.
But I think that's what you have to break down, because if we're going to then speak to black women and say these things, you have to then come with one reasonings, because there's so much we already.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. So she either she's having trouble contextualizing what she's thinking, or she just doesn't understand what they're saying, right? Because she said she kind of disagrees. She doesn't disagree. You can't disagree with statistics, right? You can say, okay, here are the facts, and then this is the reason for the facts. You're able to say that, which is, she's moving the goalpost right now. But there was no disagreement there. Okay, let's just be real.
Get that you are this, you are this, you are that. If we're then going to add to that ourselves, you have to be responsible to add a solution and a background.
But the solution is you have to take accountability. I don't care what your background is. We live in the most privileged society in the world. Even though the worst circumstance of a black woman today is nothing what it was 100 years ago. Especially if you want to talk about the U.S. slavery. I don't know how it was in the U.K. I mean, I do know it wasn't like it was in the U.S. But if one black woman made a choice that was Maggie made a choice that was better than the next black woman, then you have a standard now that you need to live up to. And I think a lot of times we want to just say, well, it's somebody's fault, to the government, it's this, that. A lot of races, you look at the Jewish people and what they've gone through in society, it's a lot of the same atrocities. In fact, all of the Bible, all of the Israelites and the Hebrews were actual slaves. Like it was.
And it's not just the Jews, right? It's the Jews, it's the Italians. When you're talking about what's the other major like Muslims, you know what I'm saying? When you talk about these other races, right? They have been through their own atrocities. The thing is that with us, the Western society, it over the last however many years, let's call it, 70 years, 80, 90, whatever it is, has been set up and systematically pieced together to break down the black family, right? To completely separate. I mean, black women scream the loudest of oppression about black men, but at no time in history have black men ever been able to oppress anybody. We've never had any kind of power, authority, or anything like that, right? Black men have never oppressed black women. If you want to talk about, okay, singing songs, hip hop and rap or whatever, okay, sexualized and da-da-da, but y'all do this yourselves too, you know what I mean? You can't just blame black men, right? And a lot of times these black men are just kind of following the only thing that they know, you know what I mean? It's not oppression, okay? Black men have never been able to oppress black women, right? And we need each other. Like these families, right, need to stick together in order to be successful. Right now, man, it's like what, $6 or something for a carton of eggs. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to you can make up all the excuses you want, but when the cards are stacked against you, right? We're talking about Planned Parenthood and the origins of that, right? the systematic, erasure of black folks. When you talk about, you know, housing, government assistance, I mean, we know, back in the day, the programs were like, hey, we'll give you this house and this much money and this and that, but the father got to go. I mean, that was the law specifically saying, here's the bag, but in order for you to have the bag, you have to get rid of your man, right? So black women traded their black men for another man, which is government, big daddy government, right? And then from then on, it's just gotten more and more and more, right? There have been more separation of the two, more division between the two. This is not on accident, you guys.
It was a known thing. And so what I'm saying is, if we have to take accountability. We want to keep pointing. Let's not point any more of what the government and what it is. What do black women need to change today? What are we promoting? Are you twerking? Are your friends twerking online? Are they showing their booty? Are they dressed?
I hear what she's saying. I understand, and I don't disagree with what she's saying. Of course, yes. If all black women were to suddenly stop doing all that, say, you know what, we're gonna go back to being respectable. We're not gonna sexualize ourselves. We're gonna love our men. We're gonna be submissive, feminine to them. You know what I mean? We're gonna allow them to lead. Right? Obviously, not every dude, but the good dudes. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna allow these things to happen. We're gonna do this and take this form, and we're gonna build up our families. We're not just gonna divorce, right? 80% of divorce, 90% if they're college educated, and I think black women right now are some of the highest college educated women out there, right? So 80% divorce, led by women, 90% if they're educated, right? So if we took away these, well, that's my issue with this. She wants to say that women, need to make these changes, but you're never gonna do it. If I tell you, as long as you keep doing what you're doing, I'm gonna give you free houses, free money, free college, free this, free that. I'm gonna give you the ability to do this and do that and do this and do that. Why would you ever try to wind back the clock to where you have to rely on a man, right? To where you have to sacrifice all of that to be with a man and have a family. Women are never going to do that. Never. And I mean, if the roles were reversed and it was men getting all the bag, they wouldn't do it either. Because we're human beings, and that's just kind of how it is just that way, right? So you can say, oh, women got to do this and do that. Some women will, if we teach our youth, the values, then and we're strong in those convictions, and we have the stuff to back up this education with our kids, then that will give them the tools and the motivation to ignore the temptation of all the things that society now has in play to perpetuate the system that we're currently in. They would have to ignore that. They'd have to put up the blinders and say, I don't want no part of that. I don't see that. This is how I'm going to operate, right? Like that's the only way this is going to happen. Look, I worry about this stuff all the time, especially having kids. Like, you can teach them everything that you want, especially little girls. You could be, a man and hold them down and hold them accountable and give them the best upbringing ever. And then their best friend starts making $40K a month on OnlyFans selling feet pictures, man, and it's a wrap, yo. Like it's very difficult to say no to that kind of temptation. And the higher a woman is on the sexual market scale, the prettier she is, the more attractive she is to other men, the more feminine she is, blah blah blah. The more that other stuff, the heavier it's gonna be. It's not gonna be 40K a month. It's gonna be 100K a month. It's gonna be 200K a month. Yo, that temptation is crazy, and not even men would be able to steer away from a free lunch like that. So you that's my issue with putting all the onus on black women to change this and that, because how could they? It's yo, if you tell me I can have a free Maserati every other month, okay, and all I got to do is just stay single, yo, I'll be single forever. What do you mean? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't, what? Yeah. Anyways, let's keep
Listen
going.
for the streets. Are they thinking about serving a man? Most black women today, it is sacrilegious. It is almost insulting them to say serve a man a plate. It is like discombobulate them. It's almost they get aggressive and mad and call you a pick me for giving a man a plate, taking his plate. You want some more to drink? You want some more to eat? It's a pleasure. Megan and I were having a conversation like most black women don't know the joy, and I'm not blaming. Get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this from a point of view that a lot of black women don't know the other side of this conversation. We're talking about it is a joy to see a man light up. Like, what's for dinner? Like, excited about bringing the plate in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Melanie. But the problem is that when your man makes 50 grand a year and your rent is $2,300 a month, okay, he may be excited about that plate, but that plate gonna have one chicken bone on it and some white rice, unless old girl is pitching in, right? That's your average dude, 50K. I mean, less than 50K, right? That's the average dude, okay? But when you got TikTok, Instagram, all these other social media platforms, OF, and it's she getting a bag, she getting a bag, she getting a trip to Bali, she got the Maserati, she got the this, her house got 7 rooms in it and 10 bathrooms, she got the boat, she got the plane. Like, when you seeing all that and they're doing nothing, almost no effort, right? Almost no effort. I'm not saying no effort. I mean, obviously, maintaining your beauty and all that stuff, it takes, it takes work, right? But I'm just saying, from being in a relationship with a man, raising your kids on less than 50K a year is hard work. It's a struggle. It's there's a lot of emotions involved in that. The day to day is rough. Okay, um, it is, to say ignore the temptation of an easy life. Okay, ignore the temptation of all these things in order to be in this situation. Like, you would have to somehow prove that at the end of it they're gonna hit the lotto. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, why would a woman want to put herself through that? I'm just saying.
He's so satisfied. You think you have to be sexual to make a man so happy and want you. I'm going to tell you what, we come in and I'm serving your man, I'm taking him. Like, he's gone. He's out of your life. Why? Because I'm coming in with wife features. I don't have to dress a certain way. I don't have to do.
This is true. This is 100% correct. Okay, you're absolutely right. But what else you like again? So now we're talking about, are you talking, is the man making 6 figures? Right? You taking him so now he can support y'all and he can provide this life, because you're not going to be with an average dude. I'm sorry, Miss King, Melanie King. You're not going to be with the dude making 42 grand a year. You're just not. You're not going to submit to that dude. You're not going to be at home, having him cook meals every night, making sure the kids are ready. You're not. You got the bag. You got a podcast. I'm not sure what kind of man you got, but I'm sure if you're with somebody right now and you are behaving the way that you are, I'm sure he's not an average dude. I bet money he's not a plumber. I bet good money he's not an HVAC guy or a line worker or a city worker. You know what I mean? Like, so, you're asking too much. You're putting too much of the onus on women. We have to Society has to change in a manner. And will it? No, it's not. So,
Deuce her down off the twerk. We have been sexualized, and what you have to understand, the way we are behaving today in our mindsets, we want to blame the government, but you have to understand the mindsets we have today, the independent, sexualized ways that we are. You ought to be mad that that's how you have to be. What we are called.
it's because that's what's promoted. It's the easy life, okay? When you have Cardi B and Meg the Stallion on stage singing WAP, okay? Y'all can look up the acronym, to 16-year-old girls. I mean, I mean, I've seen ha ha ha. Where's that damn video? Hold on. Here, we'll look this up while we're here. Cardi B WAP live. Which one is it with Meg? Hold on. Is it wireless? Yeah, it is wireless. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to. Will they hit me with the? They might hit me with the copyright. Hold on. Let me see how this works. Hold on. I'm just gonna. Don't mind me. Just give me a second. Is that where it was? Yeah, I think it was here. You're gonna have to. Yeah, there we go. You're gonna have to look at these girls. Hold on a second. Let's see here. I don't know if they'll let me play this or not. I'm not gonna play the volume. I don't know. Let's just look. Look, this is Cardi B live at Wireless Festival, okay, with Meg the Stallion. This is in the UK. She's half naked. Okay. The entire crowd is 16, 17, 18-year-olds. YouTube, don't hit me for this. This is on you guys. I just look at these girls. WAP. WAP. Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm not gonna look at this. Look at what she's wearing. Here, let's fast forward a little bit. Hold on. Wait till Meg comes out. Look at these girls. These are your kids. Look at that. That's a sea of girls. There aren't no guys in there. There aren't no guys in that on that stage, okay, or in the crowd. Very few. Here's Meg. Meg the Stallion, okay? Look. This is a stripper's uniform. Okay? These girls are naked on stage. Look at this. Grinding. Look at this. YouTube, don't hit me for this. This is on you guys, okay? And when you look in the crowd, let's see. Where's the crowd? Come on. Let me see some more crowd. Here we go. They're coming. Look at these little girls. These are little girls. These are sick. Look at these little girls right here. Look at them. WAP. That's what they're screaming at the top of their lungs. At the mic that they got. Oh, look at this guy right there. Yeah, okay. So there's a guy there. Like I said, there's a couple of guys in there. And probably got girls on their shoulders. Anyways, when you have that kind of performance happening, and you see she's making millions of dollars, it don't matter that Cardi B's going home to whatever his name is. Y'all don't. I can't remember his name right now, but y'all know him. It doesn't matter that she's got a husband, right? Because they're promoting that single life. When 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old girls are in crowds singing this stuff, it's very difficult to counteract that. That's all I'm saying. And when they see they can make money and they can have a future and they can do, you know what I mean? Like, why would any woman want to sit in a kitchen barefoot, pregnant, raising kids? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not blaming them. I'm saying you can't. It's very difficult for you to tell a woman that she needs to be like this, to raise a woman and say she needs to be like this, when that is what is promoted. That is what gets you views. That is what makes you money. 42 grand a year, average man's salary. that can't even afford a house in most cities now. Most cities, you're not going to be able to hit your mortgage. What does $42K a year get you? $180,000 house, maybe. I don't know exactly how they what the math is, but I think it's around somewhere around there. That's not a lot. I live in I don't live in a big city. I live in the city that's lower than the city, that's lower than the city, that's lower than the city, that's over from that city. Okay, that's where I live, right? Because the cost of living is slightly cheaper here. The house I live in is still 300 grand. I'm just saying.
Culture has become because it has been put upon us.
Okay, so for me, my perception, I do agree with a lot of what you're saying, but for me, it comes from a place of let's talk about self-worth and let's talk about how black girls and black women can increase our self-worth. And therefore, you're coming from a place of help. Because if you're talking about other cultures, the Jewish culture, any other cultures, they are a community and they don't. I feel like it's only our culture that constantly talks bad about each other so publicly.
Yeah, because society was set up that way, specifically to separate and segregate us, or segregate then separate us. I mean, that's how society is set up. There are cash prizes awarded to black women for separating from black fathers, from not having them involved at all.
It's true. It's true.
So publicly.
It's true.
So if we're going to have this conversation, you come from a place of how can we help each other and build each other up? Maggie kindly then spoke to this lady.
I remember seeing this TikTok where this girl said, I can't remember how she said it, but something about the game is don't have 4 babies by the same baby daddy because he only gonna have to pay X amount in child support, but instead have 4 babies by 4 different baby daddies because each one gonna have to pay 6 and 6 and 6 and 6. I was like, oh my God. And she's right though. She ain't wrong. Not about the dollars. And if you're going to have 4 babies anyway, you might as well get the most from them. If you're going to have 4 kids and the dad's not going to be there, what does it matter if it's 1 or 4? What does it matter to her? She don't care. Why would she care? She's incentivized with cash and prizes to go the other way. I'm just saying.
And said, can I just say, out of respect, next time think like this, next time put the right things in order. And I think that was the most beneficial thing that she got from this conversation, rather than all the questions of how did this happen, and being accusatory. Come from a place that Maggie was saying, how do we help each other with building up our self-worth and kindness, and stop with the constant, well, we're this, because we are talking bad about ourselves.
But this is the thing, black women want this soft tone, but we don't give what we want to receive.
Not even a little bit.
So we were talking about, but Maggie did, but look at most black women today. There's an aggression.
Look at yourself. Let's just go back 5 seconds and see how you just presented that information because you're triggered. She's been talking calmly this whole time. Right? But all of them, you're like, hold on, yo. You can't even talk about the topic without being upset and getting aggressive. No man wants to sit there and listen to that. He's not. It's too much.
A dominance, there is a thing, and I understand because most of us have been raised very masculine because we didn't have fathers in the home. Our mothers relied on us. Our mothers didn't teach us certain things, so we want what we're not giving out to the world. So you want the tone of Maggie, then be Maggie. Like, no one's making us choose the things. Everyone comes from somewhere. My mother was raped at 14. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, but no fault of her own. Her black mother kicked her out of her house. White nuns took her in. Okay, no fault of her own. She made a choice. She didn't talk to her family for nearly 7 years. She decided to go to college. She was going to make something of herself. She went on, joined the Air Force, went to college, got her degree. The only person in her family, while the rest of them made different choices. Then she went on. I grew up in the Pentagon because of
Yeah, and all that's all masculine. Everything that she just said is all masculine. It's all she had to work, scrape, claw her way out of that impoverished situation and the negative things that happened to her to get to a high success. Grew up in the Pentagon is what she's saying. To get there, to be to get from there to there with no help, by the time you get to where you're at, the femininity is gone. It is zero. It is out the door. It is not. It is non-existent. And how does that translate when it comes to teaching the youth, right?
Of my mother. I had an internship in the White House because of my mother. Her circumstances were what they were, but she went on to make a different choice. So every time we say these things, and then she raised me the way she did to try to get me the results. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. She's not perfect. None of us are perfect. But I think a lot of black women, especially Kevin Samuels, who was my mentor, a lot of black women are against him. He was one of my friends. He was my mentor. And so a lot of women got mad at his tone because they never had a father talk to them and discipline them. He sounded just like my father. So I was like home to me because I knew a man who loves you and loved black women. And that's what it was. That's what we were so harping on tone. And we want all this kindness, but are we giving it out? Most black women are extremely aggressive, extremely combative, aggressive. But when they say, well, you need to say it nicer, but are we giving out what we want to receive?
Maybe that's where it helps.
And we just saw this. I don't know, if you guys seen my Fresh and Fit reaction with Waka Flocka. You can see some of the girls on there. I don't remember how many of them were black. If any of them were black, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. I mean, in a lot of the Fresh and Fit stuff that I've done, you can see it. And when you see a black woman who is very feminine, man, she sticks out. I've seen a couple on the Just Pearly Things podcast. I really haven't seen any on Fresh and Fit. I'm sure there are some. I've seen feminine women. I haven't seen a lot of black feminine women. And maybe that's because there aren't a lot of black feminine women going to Miami. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I feel like if you're in Miami, you're there because you want to make money, right? Unless you just go on vacation. And even then, most of the women go on to Miami on vacation. Hey, you figure it out, right? But yeah, you just don't. When you see a real feminine black woman, she sticks out so far above the crowd. Like it's almost like she has a radiance around her because it's so rare, right?
Yeah.
So if you give it, maybe it will be received and it might just be soaked in and given right back.
And I don't say this to put our women down. I know the history of what we've gone.
And that right there, what she said, like that's like when the girls say, I'll be feminine with the right guy. I'm in my masculine energy, but with the right guy, I'll be feminine. So you're conditionally feminine, right? Like, so what you're saying is that if a man is, gives her that energy, treats like that, then maybe she'll give that back. That doesn't even happen. And what happens the second he doesn't, right? Because a man isn't feminine, he's masculine. So there's going to be masculine, situations coming out, right? So what happens when he doesn't? Then all of a sudden the masculine energy comes out. You can't pick and choose. That's not how this works. If you think you can pick and choose, then you're just masculine. From a man's perspective, if you think you can be feminine, in 1 minute and masculine in another, that's fine. You can think that way, but a man sees you as only masculine. He doesn't see you as feminine sometimes and masculine another. It's just masculine. That's all he sees. Okay, I'm just saying.
Through. This is more so we can have a conversation, be real with each other so that we as a community can get better results. If we're not real with each other, especially the older women talking to younger women, I want every woman in this room to win. I have no competition with you. A lot of your mothers are in competition with you.
Oh, trust me.
Okay? They don't want you to win. They didn't raise you to be a wife because they didn't understand. They did the best with what they knew. And so it's not a point of putting you down. It's not a point of breaking you down, but saying, listen, we need to learn from Jewish culture. We need to learn some Latin
I
culture.
got a question. So are we all, so we all want to be more like Meghan Markle or less like Meghan
No,
Markle?
absolutely
Less.
not. She's a
Lower.
narcissist.
Yeah.
I
That
was a fan.
troll
My
question.
first time coming to
Yeah.
the UK was to that wedding because I believed in what they were doing.
Yeah.
I recently did a video. I was the first black woman publicly on YouTube to say absolutely. Once I saw the evidence of the simping of Prince Harry and the destruction of his family, boy. But listen. Ruby Bridges, who was the first little girl in the U.S. to go into segregation in the U.S. All the schools were segregated, black and white. She was 7 years old. Went into a school for the first time, a white school. She was spit on, beat up, brutalized, and she stood what we call 10 toes. She stood taller than Meghan Markle. You do not know, if you look at Martin Luther King, people who went through real racism in the world, Nelson Mandela complained less than Meghan Markle. She was only black when it was convenient. She never stood for us. Why were there no black girlfriends or her black family? She had beef with her white family? Why was her black family not there? The only black people were there were people that she saw black people as charity, or black people like Oprah, people she didn't even know. So she didn't love us. She didn't claim us. She did nothing for us. And once I opened my eyes and see she got the right one with Prince Harry being a mark and a simp, and he had a bitterness and an anger because he's the spare. But really, y'all need to watch South Park.
I'm glad my troll question went on that direction. Can I add like one little?
No.
Okay, I will not. I will not.
Sorry, guys.
For
Sorry.
way
I'm
too
gone.
long.
I'm gone.
All right, cool.
He said, nah. You've been going on for way too long. Melanie King, she's spitting straight facts, but you can't just put it all on black women, right? Because it's like you uncage a tiger and you leave steaks laying all around it, and you expect it to go through the steaks all the way to the lamb chop without touching them. And then expect whatever the situation, by the time he gets to the lamb chop, to not be full, to not be like, I've been eating steak this whole time. Lamb chop is beneath me. You know what I mean? I know you don't want to blame it on society, and you shouldn't. We don't want to blame. We want to take accountability for all of our situations and for our own future, But the cards are stacked against black folks and black families. It is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that black families have gone from the highest percentage black marriages, right, to the lowest in a very short amount of time. It hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long at all. And it's not a coincidence that, the highest numbers of, let's call it college educated, are black women. The highest numbers of, babies born out of wedlock, black women. There are other facts that I can't even remember right now, but this is not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence anyway, and neither should you. Anyways, this is the Chill with Bill show. Hey, thanks for listening to my BS. You guys have a good day. See you soon.